Throughout the past 5 years, we've provided the Anglo community with a school that not only helps Olim excel academically, but simply helps them to do well at school and in life here in Israel. What started with 26 students in 2008, males, 26 boys in 2008, we now boast 75 students, and in addition to that, a girls' school with a further 62 students. It is no exaggeration to say that we have strongly impacted on the Anglo community and have provided the extra incentive for many families who are living in Chutz La'aretz to make the big move over here. Over the years, we've received many messages of appreciation and support from parents. One such example by an anonymous parent reads, "Making Aliyah was way more of a challenge than either of us expected, and YTA helped both our boys navigate most, if not all of it, with a sense of accomplishment, honor, and success." Ladies and gentlemen, none of these accomplishments would be a reality without the vision, foresight, and ongoing guidance of our Rosh Yeshiva, Harav David Samson. Please welcome Rabbi Samson up onto the stage, who will address us.
With the permission of Rav Tauber, Rav Prince, Rav Betzalel, dear staff, parents, and of course, graduates. I'd like to begin by thanking our hosts. First, our hosts in Israel and in Yerushalayim. And first and foremost, Nir Barkat, who very much wanted to be with us this evening and was unable to rework his schedule to join us, and sends his best wishes. And YTA is part of Nativ Meir, which is part of the city school system in the municipality of Yerushalayim. And all of the staff at the municipality are all part and parcel of making sure that YTA exists. And this is the opportunity to thank them. The second thanks goes to our immediate hosts, Rav Teuber, Rav Prince, that continue to host us. And I want you to know that we're aware of your noble hosting and that we're aware of the cost to Nativ Meir. And it's not necessarily a simple decision, and that it is your dedication to idealism which facilitates and allows our school to exist within Nativ Meir, sharing common values of integration so that our children will be able to integrate into Israeli society. It's important that at this point you know that we recognize this and thank you for it. Thank you, Rav Tauber. Next, a good friend, a wonderful team partner, an excellent educator, and the backbone of YTA, Rav Betzalel Borstein. It's obvious that the character of YTA would only exist with Rav Borstein. I would like to mention a little bit maybe behind the scenes in my philosophy of education. My philosophy of education is try not to bother the children. Children will naturally, they want to be good. They want to do good. They want to learn. They want to go to a good place. And if you're successful in not bothering and badgering them and just getting them derailed, they'll go in a good way. Now, it sounds like a very simple theorem. It's not at all simple, gritting your teeth and doing nothing as the children are going this way and that way. But the true talent of education is knowing when to act, when to react, and when to overlook. This is the great talent that Rav Bezalel has, and the wisdom and insight in educating, believing in the children, and knowing how to intervene, when to intervene, and more important, knowing when not to intervene. And I believe that this is the true secret of his success. And Rav Bezalel, we thank you. We recognize him. Staff, I know that I should acknowledge you one by one, and I'm not, because I know that Rav Bezalel will. And therefore, I just want you to know that we all recognize and we're aware that you are what makes YTA possible. Your wisdom, your commitment, and your passion is what allows YTA to be YTA. And in general, I'll thank you. I'll leave Rav Bezalel the continuation of my thanks. I wanted to leave you, graduates, with one gift. And it's an insight that stems from the Parsha, but it also stems from life. And it's something that I think will be part and parcel of your lives from now until the Mashiach comes, and I hope he intervenes in a good way. And there are three different stages which are perceived in the Aliyah process. The first stage of the Aliyah process is a stage where people feel insecure. They don't really feel sure of themselves, and they feel, well, I'm not an Israeli, I'm a foreigner. I'm from Australia, from South Africa, from England, from the United States. I'm not really an Israeli. And that when you really see everyone pushing in line and you say, well, you know, in England, we stand in a straight line, and you just want to say, why don't you do it like in England? And someone's going to turn around and say, well, you know, you're not an Israeli. And you say, yeah, I guess you're right, I'm not. And then like, you feel that you just can't intervene, and you're just not able to say anything. In this week's Parsha, Shimon ben Salu, the prince of Shimon, comes to Moshe Rabbeinu and says, can I marry Kozbi Batsur? And Moshe Rabbeinu says, well, of course not. She's a Midianite. And then he said, and Tzipora, your wife, who allowed you to marry her? And it says at that moment, the halacha, Habuel Aramid, Kanaim Pogimbo, he just lost his mind, and he was like frustrated, and he was flustered. For Moshe Rabbeinu was flustered, and he couldn't answer straight because he himself married a Midianite. And when it came time to act, he was, and there was this like instant of insecurity, and Moshe Rabbeinu himself was unable because he himself was married to a Midianite. Who acted? Pinchas. Pinchas is second generation. His mother was a Midianite. And it says that Aharon, Pinchas's father, married a daughter, Mibnot Putiel. And that his mother was a Midianite. He was like second generation. His parents, were involved, but he was like second generation. And he had this really crazy reaction, like, oh, where is the nearest spear? And just a reaction to the fact that there was a Midianite in the family, and it's also not a normal reaction. It's like something that belongs only to Pinchas, Habuel Ramid Kanaim Poginbo, something that's zealousness. And this is what Pinchas had. And they open the top button, and they chew garinim, and they start using their knees and elbows to get into Eged buses, and they say, achshav ani Yisraeli. And they have a reaction and they turn back. And if someone says, I hear a little bit of a miftah, איך אומרים miftah? And you say, oh no, this is, and a person tries to turn his back on everything that he was. He says, now I'm born again. But didn't I see you in Chicago? Look, bloody. And a person tries to turn his back to everything that he was. And in a way, you can understand how Pinchas, whose mother was a Midianite, and he's a Kohen, and he's reacting so fervently to the idea of Shimon having relations with Cosbi Batzor, that he's overreacting in the other direction. And this is the second stage of Aliyah. I never understood why, after Pinchas kills Shimon and Cosbi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him a present. It says, Hineni noten lo et briti shalom. I am giving him the covenant of peace. You would think that he would get the covenant of zealousness, not of peace. I mean, it's not a very peaceful kind of thing, and that's not the kind of person you give peace to. But I think that this leads us to the third stage in the understanding that the third stage is a stage that you no longer are in reaction or in denial, but a person is able to integrate. He's able to integrate everything that he was with everything that he is, with everything that his parents were. And aside from just being a teenager and being embarrassed by your parents, you grow up and you start respecting and honoring and realizing that the heritage that you have from your parents is not only something that you want to turn your back to, but it's something that you want to enhance and incorporate into the very fibers of your being. And you'll be an integrated person, and this is shalom. This is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving to Pinchas, Hineni noten lo et briti shalom. And we find Pinchas in a third position once he comes and makes Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. He is the Kohen in the Mikdash. And Tumecha ve'urecha le'ish chasidecha. And we find him with the Urim ve'Tumim as a man of chesed inside the temple in Shiloh. This is Pinchas making the third and final stage. My blessing to all of you is that just as you have reached the first stage together with your parents, and the second stage that you are now in the midst of, my blessing is Hineni noten lachem et briti shalom. That you should all have shalom inside, and you should have peace with yourselves and with your parents and with your heritage, and be able to integrate within yourselves all of the great things that you have from outside of Eretz Yisrael, and being able to integrate them properly with all of the great things that are here in Eretz Yisrael. I, at this moment, am very, very proud of you. I'm very proud of all of the accomplishments that you have made, from stage 0 to stage 1 to stage 2. And at this point, I am also confident that we will all be proud of you in the years to come as you continue your journey from stage 2 to stage 3, together with the final coming of the Brit Shalom, with a Kohen who will carry it, with the return of the Bet HaMikdash, B'mehera B'yameinu. Amen.